The music of Assassin's Creed is just not some tunes playing in the background anymore. It's something that the players connect to on an emotional and personal level. Take me for example, I am and probably always will be a huge fan of the music of this series. In my opinion, Jesper Kyd, Lon Balfe and Sarah Schachner have done a job so vastly superior to much of the gaming industry, it's simply breathtaking. I'll tell you how much of an impact this music has had. When people heard a certain soundtrack that I'll name later in the list, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, many players just stopped playing, including myself, because I wasn't able to believe what I was hearing, and the nostalgia and the memories just came crashing in like a tsunami. That's how iconic this music really is. See, because music is a huge part of the entertainment industry, because there are innumerable movies, TV series and video games that have been elevated by the melody. Because many times it cannot be just what you see on screen that strikes the right chords of your heart. It has to be a blend of what you see and what you hear, and then and only then can an impact of this level be created. And the absolute platinum age for the music in Assassin's Creed has definitely been during the Ezio era. I do not doubt that one single bit, but I want to know what you guys think. So tell me down in the comment section below which era you think has the best music. And that's the topic of the day, because today in this video we're gonna rank the 7 best OSTs in Assassin's Creed. Now before we get to the top 7, let me give you some honorable mentions. The first one is the Flight Over Venice soundtrack. This is the BGM that plays when you're going through the flying machine mission in Venice in Assassin's Creed 2. And if you've played this game even once, I can bet that you would remember it. It is really that beautiful. And the second honorable mention, the Dreams of Venice soundtrack. This will really take you away. If you close your eyes and listen to it, you can remember the days when you were playing as Ezio atop the rooftops of Venice. It's really a tune straight from heaven. And every time I hear this tune, I feel thankful for finding this franchise. Because not only have I enjoyed the stories, the gameplay, and the occasional history lesson, I'm one of those people who's thoroughly enjoyed the albums that these games have put out. And if I could have my way, I would tag the entirety of the Assassin's Creed 2 soundtrack here, because every individual piece is definitely worth hearing. And Jesper Kyd, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, is an absolute god. Well, the third honorable mention goes to the main menu music of Assassin's Creed 3. Now there are two versions of this, and the one I'm mentioning now is the alternate version of the main menu music. This is probably the one track I've listened to for thousands, if not tens of thousands of times. There is a certain air of the American Revolution here, and it also has the essence of Connor's life, believe it or not. And this is easily my third most favorite Assassin's Creed OST in the entire series. It just gives you such an authentic feel of the USA during the American Revolution. The essence has been captured impeccably. And the fourth honorable mention, this might shock many people, the main theme of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Whether you think the game is good, bad or indifferent, the main theme of this game is absolutely stunning. I'll confess this, I really don't know much about Greek music, but it really feels so authentic to me. And there's a certain energy in the music that is so infectious. Once you hear it, you'd want to hear it again and again and again. And this tune is amazing in its own right. And the fifth and the last honorable mention goes to the Crossroads of the world in Assassin's Creed Revelations. This track is literally the perfect crossover between the Byzantine, Ottoman and Persian music, without a doubt. In fact, the entire album of Assassin's Creed Revelations tells you one thing very clearly, that this is the end. But there's a sense of joy just lying underneath all the sorrow in the music. How they could do that with music, I just don't know. But Jesper Kyd and Lon Balfe, well, they pulled off the impossible. It's not like they're the best for no reason. I never thought I'd be giving out 5 honorable mentions, because this section has almost become as big as the list itself. But what do I do? The level of work involved is just so extraordinary. And with the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the video. Number 7, the chase theme from Assassin's Creed 1. This is a track that you'll definitely remember if you played Assassin's Creed 1. It plays many times during the main story. The one time you'll definitely remember it playing is during the Al Mualim boss fight. The boss fight itself is definitely without a doubt one of the best, but this music took the experience to a whole new level. It really shocks me sometimes as to how much these tunes amplify the experience, and the chase theme does just that. It's so electrifying and it makes you feel like you're on your toes during the whole boss fight. One of the best musical pieces in the entire franchise. If you haven't heard it, you definitely should. Next, number 6, the main theme of Assassin's Creed Rogue. The shocking thing is, this is actually a hybrid, a crossover of two previous Assassin's Creed tunes, and despite the creators ripping two of the best tunes tunes in Assassin's Creed history and mixing them together, the result is just mind-blowing. There's mystery, there's sorrow, there's a feeling of eccentricity, all mixed together in balanced and perfect proportions. And the end result, the theme of Assassin's Creed Rogue. A soundtrack that not only reminds you of the past, but also conveys the message of betrayal. I hope you understand where this feeling is coming from. Next, number 5, the Trouble in Town soundtrack, Assassin's Creed 3. I've heard a lot of people say that the job of a BGM is to replicate the current happenings in music and give us a feel of the situation even better. And if that's true, then the Boston Tea Party soundtrack will definitely get 5 out of 5. If you played Assassin's Creed 3 and remember this mission, you'll know exactly what the atmosphere was like. There was a sense of urgency, a sense of hurry, and also a sense of rebellion and patriotism. And it's such a complex and intricate job to converge so many different emotions in one place and get an outcome this perfect. Yet Lon Balfe achieved it. A soundtrack beyond belief. Give it a shot, you won't regret it. Next, number 4, the British Empire soundtrack, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Just a few minutes ago, if you remember, I spoke about a soundtrack that played in Valhalla that stopped the hearts of players. Well, this soundtrack is exactly that. The British Empire soundtrack from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I feel it's literally the quintessential ocean music. If you hear this and close your eyes, you'll feel like you're at the seas. And if you played the game, you feel like you're atop the jackdaw. It plays all throughout the game, especially when you're at the helm, and the music is breathtaking in every way possible. The amplification of the feel is at times 100. Every time I hear this music, I want to go back and play Black Flag. The amount of memories it brews up in your hearts. Every time you hear it, it's actually unbelievable. If nostalgia sounded a certain way, this is exactly how it would sound. It's like the creators had the soul of a sailor when making this. And if there's one particular soundtrack I can connect to Black Flag, in a moment's notice, it'll definitely be this. Next, number 3, Assassin's Creed Origins theme. Origins really is a timeless classic. If you've already experienced this masterpiece, just sit down, listen to the soundtrack, and I assure you the entire story of the game will play right in front of your eyes. It starts off really mysteriously, just the way Origins did. You don't know anything about it, and a few seconds later the meat of the matter kicks in. The sorrow, the anger, the downfall, and the subsequent rise. Everything about this story is actually there in the music. I've placed it third, I know, but make no mistake about it, it could have been first or second easily, and I'd have no problem accepting it as the best in the entire series. The only reason I've placed it a little low is because it still needs a few years to age and really compete against the best of the best. It really has to survive the test of time. But despite how old it becomes, this will always be one of the best, if not the best in the entire series. Next, number 2, Assassin's Creed Revelations theme, Ezio Auditore da Firenze. You know, when I think about him, I actually feel like I knew the man. Even though he was fictional, he's left us with so many memories that we can cherish even today. And if you're a fan of Ezio the way I am, you would know that this track is a tearjerker for sure. When Revelations came out, the creators made it rather clear it was the last outing of Ezio. I still remember it the first time I installed the game and theme music played. I was awestruck. I had never heard something that heartbreakingly beautiful, if that makes sense to you. The theme really gets me so emotional every time I hear it. I remember the days when we were playing as Ezio. His entire journey, the hardships he faced, all the losses he experienced, and the life that he lived. He was inspiring in every sense of the word, and this soundtrack is the reflection of what players felt when Ezio's story had come to an end when we saw him die. If you are an AC fan and want to cry and clean your eyes out, I suggest you watch Assassin's Creed Embers with this music playing in the background. And I kid you not, you will be moved. Whoever the woman is who gave this soundtrack her vocals deserves a standing ovation. She's really hit the bullseye, and her voice is just so soothing and full of sorrow at the same time. This is a soundtrack for the ages, no doubt about it. And now, number 1, Ezio's family soundtrack, Assassin's Creed 2. I'm fairly certain that a good amount of people would have guessed that this soundtrack is going to be on the first spot. And in my opinion, it definitely deserves it. Remember what I said when I spoke about Origins theme? It really has to stand the test of time. And when we are talking timeless, we can talk about the Ezio family soundtrack. This has been used so many times in so many different games, and yet somehow it does not feel stale. Every next iteration of it feels new and feels different. How in the world Jesper Kid created something this awe-inspiring and legendary is beyond me. Remember when Ezio and Federico climbed a tower in Florence and this music played? Many people were instantly hooked to the game at that exact moment, and I'm sure many people's addiction to the Assassin's Creed game still continues to persist. Take me for example. It's not even a classic, it's a once in a lifetime piece of music, and if you listen carefully, the Assassin's Creed albums coming out even now will definitely have a tune or two connected to this one, and this music is as closely associated to Assassin's Creed as the Hidden Blade or the Hood, and this soundtrack for most people will forever be the theme of Assassin's Creed itself. And with that we come to the end, guys. This was probably one of my favorite videos to make, and I want to know exactly which soundtrack you guys think is the best and which ones do you remember most fondly. But if you think the list is worth it, please hit the like button, and if you have the time, please visit the channel. A lot of Assassin's Creed content is there, and I hope that you'll really enjoy it. And if you do visit the channel, don't forget to subscribe to it. See you in the next video, guys. It's your boy VZX signing out.